So even making changes, the players themselves came up short.
Well, it's on the back of a poor home performance against Leicester, so that never helps. I think there's blame on both sides. I think
this is totally different, Danny, isn't it? It's a cup.
Bournemouth made changes as well. All the Premier League teams do it. I don't blame them. I mean, he just said there 3 or 4 of them have got niggles. He doesn't want to risk them for the weekend.
Yeah.
Players do that. They want an opportunity, and then it's given him a few answers, hasn't it? He now can turn around. At least now he can say, when he gets the knock on the door, you've had a chance.
Yep.
Get your head down and train and crack on. I mean, the problem is for Everton, a lot of teams in the bottom half of the Premier League, is their strength in depth isn't that good. But this wasn't a team full of kids, by the way.
No.
This was a team of experience that shouldn't be getting done 4-1 at Bournemouth.
Yeah, you're
so I feel
Danny.
for Frank a little bit, although the buck always stops with the manager. He's got to win the weekend now. Saturday becomes huge. They certainly don't want to be losing that game against Bournemouth and then going away to the World Cup or having that break on the back of a terrible month, and then the fans feeling the doom and gloom. A good win at the weekend, and that'll be forgotten.
I mean, how can a manager rely on players these days? Assuredly rely on players. Simon, last night when I heard Lampard's made changes right across the board and Everton have lost 4-1, I thought, well, it must be literally kids. Then I look at it.
Yeah.
Begovic, Holgate, Keane, Mina, Patterson, Doucouré, Davis, Garner, Anthony Gordon, Mopai. I mean...
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure, given the current position in the league, why there's an assumption that Everton would go to Bournemouth and beat them anyway. Because they're
even with a full strength,
with a full strength squad,
not get done 4-1 though.
Well, okay. I mean, 4-1's 4-1, and the game is the game. But the bottom line is the assumption is that ultimately Everton would go to Bournemouth and get a result out of Bournemouth. I'm not entirely sure why that would be an assumption, given their positions in the league, and the narrative of the fact. I think one of the headlines we've got here is 27 years ago Everton were winning this tournament. Well, 27 years ago Blackburn Rovers won the Premier League. And look where they've been for the last 10 years. Football changes. There's no given assumption. But I think it's very interesting language for Frank to use. And obviously it's based upon frustration and exasperation because nobody wants to be on the end of a 4-1 shellacking. And it's a case that he can utilise and make an argument with the ownership model about the strength of depth that he's got inside this playing squad that needs to be changed up. And also, as Danny points out, players come knocking on your door with lots to say for themselves. There was your moments. And you did absolutely nothing with it.
Exactly.
The other thing in reality is the League Cup, if you look at it over God knows how many last year, I was thinking back, I can't remember the last time a team outside the top 4 won it. I mean, City have dominated it for years. Liverpool won it last year.
Probably Swansea. So long ago.
Swansea, that was quite a while ago, wasn't it? Everton aren't winning it.
No.
They're not winning it this season.
They're not winning it. But they're certainly not good at Bournemouth.
But they should be more competitive.
Yeah.
Staying in the Premier League is a priority. Look, as I said to you, if they win against Bournemouth, he's kind of justified in his decision of giving the players a break at the weekends.
But it's a shocker. That is the language. I mean, Everton fans won't like it. They won't want to hear it. They might be realistic enough because...
Well, he's not said it. I'm saying
pragmatic. The idea is that he's prioritising the Premier League.
Yeah, but he didn't say those words, did he?
Well, I think the inference is if by playing the best players and resting players, that's the inference, right? Yeah. So the inference is Everton have now arrived at a point. They've arrived at a point after £500 million worth of investment that their best foot forward and the appointment of Frank Lampard is to start with the default setting of staying in the Premier League. When did that become the script?
Premier League safety, that's where they're at, isn't it? That is where they're at.
Well, when the funds of staying in the league became so instrumental to the club's future.
Yeah, absolutely, but that shouldn't be the blueprint for Everton. It shouldn't be where they're looking.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.